What are we going live? You ready, guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it. Go for it.
Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of the TSS podcast. And we've got a little bit of a difference this week. We are live. We have decided to come straight into the 21st century, and we're now going to start these podcasts live. So, welcome to our very first one. I'm very excited about it, as is our man of the hour, Mr. Sean Teal. Of course, this is the TSS podcast. Abbreviated, it means the Tealey Saying Something podcast. And you all know by now that we wrote a book with Mr. Teal about 3 or 4 years ago now, and we've decided to keep on talking because he actually does know a little bit about football. So that's really good, considering he played the game as well. Before I introduce the man of the hour, a big thank you to our sponsors, as always, Luke 1977 for the fab clothes that they produce, and also Bowden and Dolphin Signs, who, as it says on the tin there, make some great signs. So there you go, guys. I've given you a really good shout out for our first live one. Right, Mr. Teal, how are you tonight?
Very well, Rob. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. What was the pause for there? Was that a
I, did,
dramatic pause that you've had?
I didn't pause.
It was you.
Was it me?
Yeah.
It couldn't have been me. Any minute now, Dennis Norden is going to come out and do It's All Right on the Night on it for those people that can remember that. Right, Sean, let's get straight into it then. We've been very positive over the last few months, as we know on this show. And things now, as we get to the business end of the season, are not going our way so much. So I'll take it you was at Villa Park yesterday.
Yes, I certainly was. Unfortunately, I suppose.
Yeah, did you stay to the end? I was watching it on TV, and I did say to Claire, I wonder if Tealey's still there when it got to 4-1.
No, I left slightly before the end, only really due to the fact that we had an early appointment at the hospital for Carol this morning, so I didn't want to be getting back too late. But I left, funny enough, I left when most of the supporters left, which was about 20 minutes to go. It was absolutely heaving outside of Villa Park with 20 minutes to go. It was just like a mass exodus. And I guess that's the fans voting with their feet, saying, what they've seen is not good enough.
Yeah. What do we need to do, Sean? And before we do that, I'm sure I'm saying this on behalf of all Villa fans. Carol had an operation today, or went in to get some work done, and she's just resting up now. Is that the case?
Yeah. She went in for her first chemo treatment today. So obviously she's a bit rough, which was expected. So it's just sort of get better over the next few weeks for her to go back in. She goes back in 3 weeks for another session, and then it's every 3
Okay.
weeks. It's every 3 weeks for 4 sessions in total.
Well, we all wish Mrs. T the speedy recovery, and I'll take it that you're doing everything for her, and you're cooking and you're looking after her, and all that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
much the same as I always do anyway.
Is she in the room with you right now?
You're having a laugh, aren't you?
Yeah, that's why you're saying that.
Do you think I'd be able to keep her quiet long enough to do this?
Not a chance, as I know you
Correct.
both well. There's not a
Correct.
chance that would happen. But as I've just said there, on behalf of the Villa family, we wish her all the best.
Yeah.
And if anybody can get through this, it is Mrs. T. So we all love you, Mrs. T. Don't forget that, and make sure he does everything for you, even though he doesn't. We all know Tealey. We all know Tealey. Right, okay then. So, what's going on there at the moment, then, Mr. Teal, from your point of view as an ex-player and a big Villa fan?
Where do you start? I mean, you could probably go to 101 different reasons why what's happening is happening. I mean, in a way, it's a complete reversal and going back to the first 5 games of the season, we don't look like we're gonna beat teams. We don't look like we can keep a clean sheet. We don't look like we're going to score goals. Our creativity without certain players in the team is lacking. Um, but the game was quite strange in a way because, to be honest, the first probably 15, 20 minutes, we were good. We started off like a house on fire. All of a sudden, then we were pressing them really high. We were panicking them on the ball. And then we just give a sloppy first goal away to them. And it's like, why are we playing a high line when we don't need to? We get caught out over the top of Matson. The cross comes in. It's a tapping. I mean, to be honest, I think I would have probably tapped that in. Um, and
Still,
then you think,
at your own end, of course, at your
Steady
own
on show,
end.
yeah. Yeah.
and then you sort of get to the point where the game sort of was a bit sort of basketball, back and forward, and then slowly but surely they started to impress on us their game. But then, of course, we get the breakaway, and it's a great move, and Ollie finishes it. And how it's given offside, I really don't know. The linesman doesn't flag. No, the referee doesn't sort of look either way as if to say, well, it is or it isn't. He just runs back to the centre, and you think 2-1. We're back in front. Great time to score, and then all of a sudden there's a VAR decision. This is what's wrong about VAR because that basically is VAR sticking the nose in to a referee's decision or a linesman's decision when there's no need to. It was funny because on their equalising goal, the first one, there was no VAR check came on the board at all. We were waiting for it because we were convinced from where we were he was off. As it happens when you see it back in slow motion, he wasn't. But it certainly looked like it to start with. But we didn't go through that whole on the board, checking for offside. It just never came up. It only came up when they scored their second. And again, we've had all these things about this AI thing today about how when they've done it on VAR, um, Pedro's foot is in a different position than it actually is on the pitch during the game. Because during the game, he looks offside. He looks like if Ollie was offside, then he was offside because there was nothing in it. If it's a couple of centimeters of a big toenail, they would have both surely been offside. But for some reason, Jared Gillett just lets it go, and it's given us not offside. So, and then we never recovered. We went in at half time, and you sort of thought we either come out firing in the second half at the start of the set, and we just didn't get in the game, and they controlled the game. Palmer literally ran the show second half. You know, and that's just the way the game petered out to. They got the third, they got the fourth, game over. We were never going to get back in it.
What was your view on the chance that Ollie had when it was 3-1, when all he needed to do was dink it over the goalkeeper?
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
that's easy for us to say, that sit at the ground or, watch it at home or whatever. But, as an ex footballer, why didn't he dink it over their
well,
goalkeeper?
I mean, if you look at it from the other side of it, and you look at it from the Chelsea side of it, right? Ollie doesn't dink it. What does João Pedro do with their second goal? Literally just dinks it over Martinez, and Martinez has already gone to ground, and it rolls in the far corner. And that I think that's the difference between a striker that's in top form in João Pedro and a striker that's not in form, and lacking in an awful lot of confidence. Um, you know, you'll always get the argument of former players that Watkins does an awful lot of running for the team, but as a centre forward, there's got to be something at the end of it. There's got to be a finish. There's got to be a tally of goals over the season. And what's he got this year? Six? Is it six this season? Something like that. Which for our main striker is just not good enough.
What has gone wrong with him, Sean? Because, he's been a great player for Villa, and he's still an integral part of the team as far as I'm concerned. You know, to be where we are, we need a concerted effort from not just the 11, but the team as well. So to me, he's an integral part of the team there. But what is going wrong with him? You're an ex-footballer. It's World Cup in 99 days or whatever it is. He's at this moment in time. Although I say he is, but I'm not sure whether he is actually. Second to Harry Kane. You know, what's in his mind at the moment? What in your opinion, what is going wrong there? Is it just a
Um,
complete lack of confidence?
I think the confidence thing is a big part of a striker's game for sure. Again, we're not creating the same amount of chances as we were. I mean, if you look at his stats over the last few years, he's always been in and around that 15 goals a season mark.
Yeah.
The one thing that he's always done on top of that is his assists have been really good. Now his assists this season are very very poor, and his goal total is poor. Will he even get to 10 goals by the end of the season? At the moment, very doubtful. Is he back up to Harry Kane? I would suggest not anymore. Not first choice backup. Because
So
you're not going to take someone like Ollie to the World Cup as Harry's replacement or backup unless he's scoring goals regular and playing well. Because we can't go into a World Cup. Harry gets injured in the first game, and we're just dependent on one person. And that's why I think, to be quite honest, I think probably Marcus Rashford is way ahead of Ollie in that view of playing up top if he has to play up top.
how's he doing at Barcelona? I've not really
Well, he's
took
had an injury. He's had an injury, and he's not really been in the starting 11 for quite a while now. But he seems to get on in every game. He's still creating things. There's still a few assists here and there. I mean, his figures over the season will be far better than Ollie's come the end of the season. I would think. Yes, it's a different league. The Premier League is obviously, for me, a tougher league than the Spanish league. But you still have to go out there and perform and beat these teams. So as for Villa and not just Ollie, we are lacking a massive amount of creativity, and really that's all kicked in since Yuri Tielemans got injured. We don't we without Yuri Tielemans, Kamara, and John McGinn, we haven't got the same control, and people will say, oh yeah, well you can't blame it on just losing them, but we can because they had such a control on games in that 11 win streak of wins. They had total control over that midfield. Um, and that even included the times where obviously Unai Emery would take McGinn off, and that was in most games. He'd take him off after an hour, just after an hour. But that was only because he'd put so much in the first hour that we needed to freshen it up. Um, so there's loads and loads of reasons. I mean, for me, would I have picked the team, more or less the same team apart from Tyrone that played at Wolves? No. Would I heck? Would I have started with Bailey? No, no chance. Um, would I have started? Oh, I don't know. It's so difficult because you know what? In a way, I'd have played Ollie on the left and put Tammy down the middle because Ollie started as a left-sided attacker anyway, and he'd give you something different playing off the left.
Tammy to start the game against Manchester United.
Yeah, but he won't because Unai won't change it because
Mm.
Unai's got this. He appears to have this thing where he has such belief in the players that he's had for the time he's been there now that it's highly unlikely he's going to leave Ollie out. I don't really see it. But listen, for me, yes, I would leave Ollie out. I would leave Bailey out. And there's a couple more. I mean, the obvious problem we've got now is that Matty Cash is now injured and looks like he could be out for a few weeks
I've
at least with a
I've not
calf
heard
injury.
that. Is that has
Came,
that come out
it
today?
came off. It came off at half time. Came off at half time with a
Right.
calf injury. They reckon it's not too bad. I think it was more precautionary, but I'd be quite. Mind you, we've got time, I suppose, so he might recover for it. Um, you know, there's been a lot of hoo-ha about the back four and people not. Ezri Konsa has dropped off quite a lot from where he was with England. His performances have really dropped off. Um, Tyrone wasn't great last night. Matson's done well, but looked like a fish out of water last night. And I felt sorry for Matty Cash, to be quite honest, because he got no help from anybody, from Bailey, from Ezra Konza, and he had Garnacho just running at him, doing whatever he wanted to do, and cutting inside, shooting, cutting, going outside, crossing, and he had no help whatsoever. And if you we moaned about Evan Gessard when he was at Villa, but the one thing Evan Gessard did week in, week out when he played, he got back and helped Matty Cash out
He did.
all the time.
Yeah, he
And,
did. He was a worker. What
yeah,
what
yeah.
what what's I know we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, but what is the difference with Evan Gasson now? And has he got a manager that believes in him and he's part of the system that Crystal Palace play?
No,
Didn't seem to be the case at Villa.
I don't think it's that. I think part of the problem was that whenever he played, he never played in his own position. So he always played on that right side of midfield as a wide midfielder, come winger as such, which he's not. Um, and then of course you're asking him to track all the way back to help defend as well. So at Palace, when I've watched Palace since he's gone there, he seems to be in and around the number 10, where a number 10 would play. So he plays off the forward and basically gets a chance to roam left, right, and centre and go wherever he needs to go to get on the ball. And obviously that suits him better than being potholed on the right side,
Mm.
just going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. I mean, all the videos before he came, all the videos that came out were him playing as a centre forward, taking the ball in, turning people, and running away from people. Um,
Mm.
so, is it? Are we trying to get people to play positions that they're not comfortable playing?
Good, good comments there. Now, one last thing before we move on to our guest for tonight is that second goal that Chelsea scored last night. I don't want to obviously go on too much about this game. We need to put it to bed. But from a footballer point of view, I know conceding a goal at any time is a bad thing for us as fans and for you as footballers. But when a goal is scored deep into stoppage time in the first half, and it means that you don't go into the break, on an even keel and you're losing the game, is that one of the worst times that you can concede a goal, Sean? Does
Well,
that
yeah, for
change
sure.
your psyche that as you go in at half time?
Yeah, because the obvious thing that it changes straight away is it'll change the manager's perspective of the game. So whereas Unai Emery coming in at 1-1 might have been able to go in and jolly the lads up and say, listen, we're still in the game. It's one each. We've had a chance at their end. We were lucky not to go 2-1 in front. Let's go out and give it everything we've got for 45 minutes. Give it everything you've got. And if we get the result, if we get the right result, then we're in great position for Champions League. Instead of that, you go in at 2-1 down. Manager's got to rethink, right, how do we get back in the game first and foremost? And we can't
Yeah.
gamble, because if we gamble and get caught out again with 3-1 down, which is exactly what happened basically, and then someone's throwing a bomb on the pitch, then you're 3-1 down. Where are you going to go from there? You either go all out to try and get back in the game, leave yourself wide open, which again is exactly what happened, uh, or you just try and shore it up and see if you can nick a goal and get back in it at 3-2. Well, too late for that. Too late for that by that time. So, yeah, the goal right on half time is an absolute killer blow.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's good to get your insight on that. Right, enough of that Chelsea game. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be talking about a victory at Old Trafford. Although I wouldn't put my money on it at this moment in time, but we've got to stay positive on that. Right, we've had some great guests over the last 18 months since we've been doing this show, from footballers, from journalists, from fans themselves. One thing that we've never had, and it's great to have so, is a commentator. Right. So this week we've got a very special guest who is the voice of Aston Villa. I call him the voice of the Villa. I think that's a fair assessment for him. If you've got AVTV and you're abroad and you're paying to watch the match and all that kind of stuff, you'll be very familiar with the sound of the brilliant Mark Regan, who's joined us tonight. Mark, welcome to the TSS podcast.
Thank you very much, Rob. Thanks for inviting me. Thank you.
Are you there?
I am.
That's all right, mate. That's all right. So,
I, I
you
heard you,
obviously
Mark.
ended.
I'm
You
here.
obviously ended up at
Looking up there.
at Villa Park doing all our matches.
Say again, sorry.
Oh, what's Carol put? Hang on a minute. I've just said, of course, we're live, so these things do happen. Right. So, tell us a little bit about your journey then. From, I think it was you started with WM, and I guess that would have been with Franksy. So, tell us a little bit more about your career and how you came to become the vice of the Villa.
Well, I started actually in 1996, way back when. It was a radio station that doesn't exist anymore. A lot of the radio stations I work for don't exist anymore. There's a place called Leicester Sound, and it was
So it's your fault then.
yeah, and it was just after Martin O'Neill had gone in there. He went in November, and I started in the following February. And they got promoted by the playoffs. You may remember Steve Clary scored with the last kick of the game against Crystal Palace. They got promoted, and I was working over there, and I got lucky because then I found myself in my first proper job covering Premier League football. And following season, they not only stayed up, they went on to win what was then called the Coca-Cola Cup. So we got down to Wembley and all that kind of stuff. So I was getting some really good experience early on in my career. And then from there, I went up to another radio station that doesn't exist called Century in Manchester. So then I was covering Man United, Liverpool and Everton and City for a couple of years. That was the season after the United won the treble. And then it was down to work with Tom Ross at BRMB. That was around about 2000, 2002. And then over to BBCWM. And then and that lasted 17 years or so. And then I took voluntary redundancy in November 20 and then started with Villa in February 21. And I'm glad to say, touch wood, I'm still there.
So, did your career start off with you being, they'd go around to the ground and you'd be the match reporter?
Yeah.
Is that effectively how you
Yeah,
started?
yeah. I mean, I did a degree course at it's Perry Bar. It was called the University of Central England then. I don't think it still is now. We are talking over 30 odd years ago. But and I used to work for nothing over at BBC Hereford and Worcester on a Saturday afternoon, doing bits and bobs behind the scenes for them. And then, so when you get your first job, it's normally doing those quick little updates that you hear from around the ground. So that was how I started, really.
What kind of due diligence did you do on matches there? Was it something that came easy for you?
No,
a natural thing?
It kind of varied, really. You start off because, you're in the kind of the aftermath, if you like, of the John Motsons, the Barry Davises, etc. Very sort of stat based, and I found myself tripping over myself. I did too much information in my head because I can't retain too much, and so I kind of slimmed it down, if you like. I wanted to let the game do the talking. So I think sometimes with stats you can get carried away about looking at notes and then something happened in the game. So I always put the game first. And sort of let it go from there, if you like, let it breathe.
Yeah. What, in terms of when you were a match reporter, what games stick out in your head? Obviously you started at Leicester there, but what games?
I mean, obviously the playoff final when Stevie Clary scored late on, that was a good game. I went to some grounds that don't exist anymore. The Victoria Ground, the old Stoke Ground, for instance, and various other grounds, even like the likes of Upton Park and Highbury more recently don't exist. So it was really good experience because they were winning, etc., etc. I mean, over the career, I was there when Kieran Dyer and Lee Bowyer were knocking lumps out of one another. I was there at St Andrews when Jack Grealish got a smack as well. So you do see some weird and wonderful things from time to time. By the way, talking of weird and wonderful, maybe Sean can come in on this. What was all that going on before the start of the second half yesterday with the huddle over the ball on the centre spot? I mean, I've never seen that before.
No, they did it. They did it before kickoff.
Yes,
and then they did it after they scored, which was really weird because the Villa players were complaining because they wanted to take the kickoff and get on with the game.
Yeah.
And then they did it second half. I can only think the Rossini's got decided to do this just to antagonise people, just to get under the skin of Villa players and just see if they can get them concentrating on that rather than concentrating on the game. Because it was really just a very, very strange thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. I've never seen that before. I mean, I've seen
No.
teams in huddles, but not over the ball, like you say, stopping Villa getting on with the game. Weird.
Well, nobody minds you doing it in your own half, but why do it on the centre circle with the ball in the middle? It's just really weird, just really odd.
Sorry, Rob.
No, that's fine. This is what it's all about, mate. Interaction. It's Tealey's show, so I'm glad that you're asking him the questions there. So, how did the Villa job come along then, Mark?
Well, obviously, I was at BBC WM for 17 years, and I was covering the Villa for a vast portion of that. And so when I left, I had sort of about 3-4 months off, and then January, February, I was asked would I come and do some games. I started off doing some under 21 games, and then it moved on to the first team, and it's been like that ever since, really. So it was fantastic for me because I didn't expect anybody to invite me to do anything. So it was really, really good that I got the invitation from Aston Villa.
And what does a typical match day? What is involved from from that time you get to Villa Park or you're away at another ground or whatever? What do you have any? I mean, I've read. What's his name's book? Come on, help me out, guys. Clive Tilsley. I've read his book, so I love the way that he meticulously goes through stuff. To see exactly, what he's up against and what he needs to report on. What kind of things do you do?
I do my prep about either on a Thursday. Let's say it's a Saturday 3:00 game. It'll be a Thursday or a Friday, so you'll have some idea from various press conferences of who's injured, who's not going to play. You'll have also, obviously, because I see Villa week in, week out, you can refer back to the last game. You'll get the teams in formations, games to come, any particular trends like a striker who's got 3 and 4, or is about to get his 100th goal for a football club. All little things like that you knock about. Obviously, league position points. How's the recent form? How's the away form? How's the home form? All little stuff like that gives you kind of a foundation to go into the game. So on match day, if it's at 3:00, I'll always get there 3 hours before kickoff anyway. So you go into the press room, have a cup of tea. There's obviously other commentators and reporters hanging around. And then about an hour and a half before the game, and the team news starts to come through, so I'll go out to the point, check everything's working technically, update notes in terms of anything that's happened with the team news that might affect them. And then we're on around about quarter of an hour before kickoff with Villa TV. So and off we go.
Mm. And what kind of guests do you have on there? I think I've seen Tony Tealey.
Yeah, Tony Dales is on there quite a lot. Did the game last night with Stilian Petrov. Ian Taylor did most of the Champions League games. Brian Little. So quite a few of them. Alan McAnally does some stuff. Yeah. James Chester's helped out a couple of times.
Yeah. And so you started at Leicester City. Yeah. Are you by nature a Leicester fan, or is it?
No, I still look out for them. I mean, obviously they're going through tough times at the moment. The one thing that it's a bit weird when you earn some money covering football, because obviously in order to want to job in football, you have to be a football fan, or you have to appreciate things in the game. So, I mean, I grew up in an era, and maybe again Sean will identify this. You never really stuck to one team. I went round. I used to watch Redditch United quite a lot. I used to go off to Alfchurch. I went to Blues, West Bromwich Albion, and Villa because they were the closest ones. So I never, when I was a kid, I never used to go away. So you just got to sort of watch football, really. And then when you start to cover a team professionally, you do get attached to them for the time that you're there, because you want them to do well. As Sean will tell you, if you're a journalist interviewing a footballer or a manager, it's a whole lot easier if they've just won a game as opposed to if they've just lost a game. So it's just nicer, more pleasurable, more enjoyable if you're covering a winning side.
Yeah, I must say you do very well on that, because every time we score a goal, you sound very much like a fan. So
the thing is that let's say there's the game over here and there's somebody listening wherever in the world over there. it's my job to convey as much as what I'm seeing and hearing into the ears of whoever's listening. And obviously, they're going to be Villa fans if they're watching Villa TV or listening to Villa TV. So, as you well know, when a goal goes in, like Wendy is, for instance, late on against Arsenal, everybody's going to be jumping up and down in the living room, around the pub, or wherever it is they're watching it. And so you have to convey that level of passion and enthusiasm, because that's what the game's about. Scoring a goal, that little split second of joy, sometimes ecstasy, is just amazing.
Yeah, what has been the best game? I mean, obviously last year with our Champions League games.
Yeah, there was some great.
Yeah, especially the PSG one. Myself and Sean were at the Witton Arms for the away leg. We were hosting an event there, but the one at Villa Park. What sticks out in your mind? And when did you start? Was it 21? Did you say
Yeah,
2021?
yeah.
Okay, so you'd have missed the West Ham away game, wouldn't you? The last game of the season. That was
No, I was
2020.
there for WM when they stayed up.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I was there for WM when they stayed up. Yeah.
So
There's loads a little weird. One thing that's just come back to me is the VAR, or the goal line technology, when Nyland, I think it was in goal against Sheffield United.
yeah.
Little things like that crop up, and then the West Ham game as well. But I remember as a kid watching various football in PSG, and then years later to find myself at the part of the France, the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and Villa took the lead in that game. Morgan Rogers scored the first goal, and you're in sort of dreamland. And then the second leg was, for 20 minutes, Villa had PSG all over the place.
Yeah.
The actual winners didn't know what to do. And I was convinced, once we got back to winning one goal of them, there was about 20 minutes to go, maybe a bit more. I thought Villa were going to go on and do it. I really did. And the atmosphere that night was off the scale. And another game was comparable with it, maybe, is the Bayern Munich game a little bit earlier, when John Duran popped one in. It was fantastic goals. The atmosphere that night, because that was the first game back at Villa Park. I know they played young boys. And that was the first game back at Villa Park in that competition since when in '82, and it was the same opposition. So those football little things came together, and it was wonderful to be there. Wonderful games, and even though they went out against PSG, that was one of those games. And again, Sean, I'm sure you've played it. If you're going to lose, and you have to lose, that's the way to lose.
Yeah, without doubt.
Yeah, the PSG game was something else there. But I think the beauty about the Bayern Munich game, and Chris, Sean, you'll remember this. We started our first podcast during that Bayern Munich game around that, and it had just been announced the untimely death of the passing of Gary Shaw. So it had even more impetus on the game, didn't it?
Yeah, and probably what quite a lot of supporters don't realise is that the rest of the 82 lads were there at the game. They were guests of honours. They had a meal. Well, they had a meal the night before in one of the new lounges, the Aston, and then they were there in the Aston on the night of the game. So when you talk about nostalgia, it doesn't really get more nostalgic for Aston Villa than the 82 lads, all of them, apart from obviously Gary after his sad passing. And like Mark said, it was a fabulous atmosphere, which culminated in probably not the greatest game to watch, because they sort of nullified each other out to that one bit of magic from John Duran. And everybody went home happy that night, simply because it was, like Mark said, going back against Bayern Munich all those years later and getting one over on them again.
Yeah, of course.
Do sorry to interrupt. The other thing that game sort of, and they went all the way to the quarterfinals with Villa. Bearing in mind they've been out of that competition for so long, I think that game sort of cemented in everybody's head, we're good enough for this. You know what I mean? They weren't overawed. It wasn't, we're in the Champions League. Oh, well, we've just lost to Bayern Munich. Off we go. That put a little seed in us. Hang on a minute. We're not just in this. We can compete. We can have a go. And as it proved, with the weeks that went on after that, even when they went out, like I said earlier, they gave Paris Saint-Germain more than one or two sweaty moments.
Well,
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's fair to say that the PSG management team cite Villa as the biggest threat that they had
Mm.
during that campaign. One thing, and it's a bit remiss of me not to do this, and I guess it's because we're live for this week, is we haven't said hello to our producer. Now, obviously, he's sat there, and whilst we're talking about the year of 1982, he's wishing that he could have that as a Birmingham City fan. But I guess your comparison for your last season, Chris, was, we did well in the Champions League, and you did well in the Virtu Trophy.
Well, to be fair to
You,
Blues, is I was there when Obafemi Martins stuck it in against Arsenal in the last seconds, and that was another remarkable one. Your name's on the trophy kind of moment. I know we're getting off Villa for a little bit, but that was a fantastic moment for Birmingham City Football Club, and they got into the Europa League. I think it was under Houghton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they actually did quite well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
yeah, you got 10 points, didn't you, in the qualifying round, and still went out.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hey, to be fair though, Rob,
Go on.
Chris is just happy sat there twiddling with his knobs.
He's
I'm
never
struggling here to make Rob sound good.
Well, obviously you're struggling.
Yeah, I know.
You've been doing that for 18 months, mate.
Yeah.
Is it me? Is it me again with my
It is
mic?
you, yeah. And I'm not playing with your knobs either.
You're not, are you? You're not. Okay. All right.
And you blamed me last week.
It'll be all right on the night. It'll be all right on the night. Right. Okay, then. So, what I want to do now is we're getting to the busiest end of the season. What I want to do now is look at our two top leagues in the country, and that being obviously the English Premier League in the top six, and also the who's coming up from the Championship as well. So it's getting to that part of the season where you can start to see the pattern. In my eyes, we have two leagues in the Premier League at this moment. You've got one for the positions of 1 and 2, which is between Arsenal and Man City, and obviously Arsenal stole a march on that with going ahead by further 2 points yesterday. And then you've got that mini league of who's going to get into the Champions League, and it's basically four teams with 3 positions there as well. So my first question, and I'll put this to Mark first. We are now in the first week in March. Who's going to win the league, Mark?
A couple of weeks ago, I said Man City, but I think Arsenal now, because there was all that debate about, are Arsenal going to bottle it, etc., a couple of weeks ago, but they've sort of steadied the ship. They've widened the gap again. And I think Manchester City dropping points at home to Nottingham Forest was a huge blow to their campaign. Yeah. This position now that the games are going to start to run out very quickly, I can't see Arsenal dropping the ball from here.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to Talk Sport today on the White and Jordan show, and they had quite a lot of Arsenal fans who were basically, some of them were saying, I don't like the way we're playing. Can I
just butt in there and ask Sean here? Because I was listening to something on the radio that I don't think it was the same thing. We're at the part of the season, it doesn't matter if you play horrible, brilliantly, as long as you win. A scrappy 1-0 is worth its weight in gold. It doesn't matter about the performance now.
Correct. I mean, I listened to Talk Sport on the way back up the motorway yesterday, and they were talking about the Arsenal game and how it was defensively, they were fantastic. They were superb defensively. But offensively, they were really, really poor last night at Brighton. But Brighton just didn't have the knowledge and the know-how to break them down. And they were talking about how good Gabriel was last night, how he won every header, he won every tackle. And listen, Mark's quite right. If you're not shipping goals, nobody cares how you win, as long as you win. That's all that matters in a title race. Going back to when we were in the title race in 92, sorry. If we hadn't started shipping goals and carried on scoring goals, we'd have been there right to the end. But, United just kept ploughing on, getting the results, and nobody cared if United had played well, as long as, if you're a United fan, obviously. All they were interested in was winning that title because they hadn't won it for so long. Arsenal won't give 2 jots how they play as long as they win. And Arteta will be thinking, If we play the last 8-9 games and we don't even play well, but we win every game, who cares?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. It's gone back to 1-0 to the Arsenal, hasn't it? At this moment in
Yeah,
time, I think.
they've always been good at that, haven't they? And over the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, the goals against have dried up, and they've become really strong again. So, if they can sit deeper and defend and not give goals away, then Arteta's not going to care less.
No, of course he's not. So, Mark, Man City second, right? Who going to be the three teams that take third, fourth, and fifth? In other words, the Champions League
Well,
places.
I'm going to say Villa. um, I was listening to what Sean was saying earlier about the recent games and this, that, and the other, and I think across any 38 game season or 46 going back in time, you're going to have peaks and troughs. Villa obviously had a slow start, then got real good momentum going. Maybe now they're having another little bit of results aren't going quite their way. But from here, and I'm looking at the league table now, Aston Villa after 29 games are fourth in the Premier League table, which is, I still think is amazing. I really do. I mean, the two teams above them, Man United, Man City, are in a different stratosphere financially. The two teams behind them, Chelsea, Liverpool, again, different stratosphere financially. And Villa have got 9 games now, 9 opportunities to push on, and they've got the Europa League campaign, which is in a week's time. So I know that everybody's a bit sore and maybe a bit raw about last night in Chelsea, but looking forward, and the other thing that Villa have got to play United, Liverpool, and City in those 9 games, so they've got to play the sides in and around them, so they can directly affect how Man United and etc. Liverpool, Man City are going to do. So I think that they'll use this week to regroup. I think they'll take 1 or 2 deep breaths, maybe have 1 or 2 meetings, sort 1 or 2 issues out. And I'm fingers crossed. I'm hoping we see a real good Villa against Lille, and then they go to Old Trafford and carry on from there and pick up that momentum. Easy for me to say, but if you're asking me what I want and what I would hope, then I would like to see Villa either third or fourth or fifth. It doesn't really bother me because I think fifth will be enough for Champions League. So I'm going to go Villa will be top 4.
Okay, all right. And who will be joining them? Who's going to miss? All right, put it this way: who's going to miss out?
I think Chelsea and Liverpool will miss out. I think Man United at the moment, hopefully, except for their next league game, are looking good. They've got a bit of momentum behind them. Liverpool are dropping points unexpectedly. They did it last time out as well. And Chelsea, I don't know. They might go quite close, but I think Liverpool and Chelsea might miss out.
I think if it's top 5, one of them has to take that. Well,
Yeah,
unless
I
Brentford
think it will be
or
top
something
5,
else.
and I think
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Liverpool, which would be a disaster for them, by the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I think the other point to that is Chelsea has still got to play City, they've still got to play United, and they've still got to play Liverpool.
Yeah.
So they're all huge games for all the clubs involved in those games. Yes, everybody's got hard games. Nobody's got an easy running as such. So there will be points dropped. I mean, obviously, Mark just alluded to United. Then they get beat at Newcastle last night. Newcastle got 10 men, and you think, wow, how's that happened? The form they've been in.
Yeah.
So you can go anywhere and drop points. You only have to look at Liverpool dropping points at Wolves. We drop points at Wolves. Arsenal drop points at Wolves. The old cliche is there. There's no easy games. So it's there to grab with both hands to get in, and we've just got to find that bit of form again. I mean, go back to the start of the season. We had them 5 games where I think we score 1 goal and didn't win a game. We drew a game. And you think from there, how did we get to winning 11 games? And it's a case of put that back into play again, get the lads into that mindset again, and we could go on another little run, which could secure us the place we want. But it ain't going to be easy.
No,
None of the
not at
games
all.
we've got, none of the games anybody's got left are going to be easy because they're going to be full of tension because there's so much riding on the games.
So, who in your mind is going to win the league?
Arsenal will win it now.
Yeah.
Arsenal will win it now. I just can't. I can't see. I can't see City overhauling a 7 point gap now. Not
No.
not with 8-9 games to go. I just can't see it. I
So,
think. I think. Do I think? You know what? I'm not even sure if City will finish second in the end because
Interesting.
I've just got a funny feeling that they could drop points left, right, and centre. They've got difficult games.
Mm.
They've got really difficult games. So you know, City. I suppose. Hang your hat up. You'd probably go City because of the position they've been in, and they know how to navigate that. Um, I do think we'll finish in the top five, which I think will be good enough for us anyway. Um, so one team will miss out, i.e., coming sixth, and I sort of agree with Mark. I think Liverpool could blow it all. To be honest,
Yeah,
I
that
think
Wolverhampton game was a big loss to them.
yeah. Plus, they've got really difficult games as well. It goes without saying, and they're not in that kind of form where they're just going to steamroll the teams. Even the 5-2 win against West Ham, they were. It wasn't a 5-2 game. West Ham had chances, and West Ham blew opportunities in that game to have been a lot closer. So, Liverpool have got to come to us. God, that's going to be a huge game, an absolute huge game now. So it's down to the individual teams to put that run together, and nobody apart from Arsenal seemed to want to take the ball by the horns and steamroll on anybody else. Everybody's sort of playing like they're very nervous of losing rather than going out to win the games.
Mm. Who's going to? So you say Villa is going to do it, right? So who
Yeah,
are
yeah.
the other two? Are you saying Manchester United and
Yeah, I
Chelsea?
think United and Chelsea will get in. I think
Right.
looking at Chelsea's form over the last few games, i.e., they played very well at Arsenal. We're actually very unlucky to lose, and then they steamrolled us last night in the end. And I can see them kicking on from that with their form, and of course they play three of those clubs that
Yeah.
that are a massive part of the running. So if they were to go and take 9 points off those teams, all they're going to do is help us as long as we can get back to winning ways. And that's the main thing for Villa. We've got to get back to winning ways. If we can go to United and get something, it'll be a big something.
Yeah, I agree with that. Producer Chris,
Yes.
who's going to win the league?
Who's going to win the league? Arsenal. Arsenal.
Okay. Right. Who's going to be joining Arsenal and Manchester City in next season's Champions League?
I'm gonna go for Cov. I'm gonna go for Cov. I don't want to. Yeah, Cov.
What are you talking about Cobb for?
Why?
We're talking about the Champions League.
Oh, that one. Oh, well, that doesn't
I'm
really bother me.
Sean.
I don't even follow it.
Right. Okay. So, who do you think will be the five clubs apart from Coventry?
Yeah, Coventry. I think we'll have Middlesbrough. It's an exciting league, this year.
Okay, right. Okay, so obviously you've got to stick to your lane there, Chris, and you're a good one to bring in on this, right? I am so glad to see Coventry turn it around and look like they are going to be one of the teams that go up. I
Yeah,
think the second place is up for grabs at the moment. Middlesbrough, Hull, Ipswich, and Millwall. In fairness,
yeah, that's a good
are all
running.
there. Have you heard the news today that 8
I have.
clubs
What do you
will
think
be
about that?
involved?
What's your
I
thoughts
don't
on that?
like it. I don't like it.
Can you
Have
imagine
you
like
heard this,
finishing?
guys?
Can you
Yeah, they're
imagine?
expanding the playoffs, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
finishing
Yeah.
eighth, going into the Premier League.
that doesn't sit right with me. It
It's
doesn't. I
not
mean,
right.
it isn't. I mean, we've all got used to if a team finishes sixth, they could potentially be
Yeah,
in the top league. But eighth is a different ball game.
it is. Yeah.
Complete different ball game. Where are you going to finish this season?
Top 10.
Yeah.
Top 10.
And that's what I think that's what you need this season.
Mm,
A
yeah.
bit of stability, playing beach football come the end of March, April, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, no, I
But
totally agree. I totally agree.
if it is 8 for next season, I
Yeah,
definitely think you could be in and around it.
yeah, could do.
I think Blues getting into the playoffs this year would be too much too soon. You know,
Yeah, I
I,
agree.
I just think it'd be too much. I think if all right, the scenario. Imagine Blues win the playoffs and go up.
Yeah.
what would happen?
Get stuffed.
That, oh, they'd be in such disarray simply because the squad isn't ready for that yet,
No.
and it would be horrendous for Blues. Really, I think Chris is right. Top 10, finish in the top 10, maybe just outside the playoffs, and then concentrate on bringing more quality in the summer because I've watched Blues quite regular on the TV, and they play a decent brand of football. That's unless ex-Villa players play against them, but we won't go into that too much, eh, Chris?
Yeah, we don't want him to be a target of abuse, do we?
To be fair, we could have done with Matt Target playing up front for us yesterday.
Absolutely.
Two great finishers, weren't they?
Yeah.
But I think that's what it's all about. Martin O'Connor was on Talksport earlier on today, and he was talking about, Blues, a bit of sustain. I can't say this word.
Ability.
It's one of you know that word,
Yeah.
sustainability.
Yeah.
I've noticed something tonight. Chris and Sean have been nice to each other. I like that. That is a very rare thing that had to happen
I'm
on this
concentrating.
show. So, Chris, are you putting money on Coventry winning the Champions League next year? Oh, I'm glad this is going out live. Talking about going out live, we've had a couple of people come on here, which is really good. One of them being a Carol Teal. Is she any relationship to you, Sean?
Sorry, I muted him. Here we go.
Oh, you muted him there. Okay. She put, you can never find anything in the kitchen. So
That's probably because I'm sat in the kitchen.
yeah, well, there you go. We've had the wonderful Rob Cook, who's been raising a lot of money for charity in the last couple of weeks, again, as he always does. Rob, thanks very much for commenting. Hello, all love the podcast. Keep up the good work. And then we've had Brian Smith. You have two hopes, Bob Hope and no more hope. Come on, you blue boys. I take it that's somebody that you know, Chris.
I hadn't got a clue. He's there.
Oh, okay. Well, it's good to have fans from all over the place, and that's that's what this show's all about. We are Villa centric, but we do like to talk about the topics of the day. And we've always had that kind of thing about us, really. That is the case. Well, it's been a fantastic show tonight. Our first live one. We've been doing it for 52, 53 minutes. Again, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Luke 77. Many thanks, Mr. Roper, as always, and Bowden and Dolphin for their excellent sponsorship they've got with us as well. And of course, Mr. Mark Regan for joining us and giving us a lowdown of what it's like to be an actual commentator and what that takes, what that induces. So next week we've got Lille away, Mark, and we've got Viva the Spain off Brian there. Thank you very much, sir. We've got Lille away, and then we've got Manchester United. Are you getting all your facts and figures ready for those?
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a good week between now and Lille, so I'll have a couple of days off and then start looking at it over the weekend. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be fantastic. It's a really exciting time. Hopefully they go over and have a really good performance in France. I think the second leg will be another great night at Villa Park under the lights. It always is. And by the way, I think the pre-match atmosphere last night was good. It was a really good atmosphere. A great start to the game, obviously. But let's hope that we have some more nights like Bayern Munich and PSG and seal it up between now and the end of the season.
Amen to that, Mark. Amen to that. Sean, very good show for our first live one.
Yeah, it doesn't feel any different from the normal shows apart from your live. So yeah, but it's interesting listening to Mark about commentating. I'm usually on the end of it, so it's I did a little bit back in the day, a few little things with Sky now and again. So it's always interesting to see people's perspective on different areas of the game. So thanks very much, Mark.
No problem. Thanks for inviting me.
That was good.
We'll have you on again, most definitely. Hopefully at the end of the season when you are live from Turkey.
Istanbul, yeah.
Yeah, Istanbul for that final. Brownie, how are you tonight?
I'm good now. Yeah, great.
Are you happy we've got our first one done?
Happy. Yeah, I'm just going to try and teach you a few mic techniques and then we'll be okay for next week.
Good. Well, we won't because we're not doing it next week.
No, next time then.
We are moving to Wednesdays, aren't we? Now that the Villa are involved in
Oh yes, yeah.
European. You watch, they'll probably knock us out. I didn't say that. I didn't
No,
say
no.
that, and I certainly don't mean it.
Coventry
But
will knock
yes,
you out next year.
Coventry, yeah, we'll win it. That was just superb. You should have seen Tealey's face on that. We both looked at each other as if to say, "Did he really say Coventry?" He's that engrossed in the championship. He's just come out with that one.
It was one of my
Bless
jokes. I'm
him.
afraid.
Bless him. I'm going to be there back in the studio if we do Wednesdays.
Yeah, oh, good.
So I'll bring some chockies over for you.
Fantastic.
And all
Wonderful.
that. So, okay, then, guys, a great show tonight. No game for both of us this weekend. Carol's put, get your muffler fixed, Rob. It was difficult to hear you.
What the hell?
I don't know what. It's live. It's live. This is what happens.
Yeah,
Right, I'll speak to you all, guys. Have a great week and up the Villa.
Yes, thank you.
Ta-ra, bit.
Tell Arabi. Up the Coventry in the Champions League.
Come on, you Coventry.